Hi YouTube, it's Emma Blue Eyes 10 here with a Blue Eyes Dragons deck update as I promised you guys a couple of videos ago. There's only been a couple of minor changes in the deck, but they're significant enough, I feel, in order to do this video, so I hope you guys enjoy and let's get started. So, I'm going to start off with my absolute favourite monster in the entire game, which is of course the Blue Eyes Shining Dragon. The Inomi of the Blue Eyes White Dragon card series, she can only be summoned out by tributing a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon that I control. She gains 300 attack for every dragon that's in my graveyard, and she's immune to targeting effects. Boss monster of the deck, main aim is to try and get her out with the maximum attack power if possible. Then we have 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons, signature card of Seto Kaiba, just a 3000 attack beat stick, and without this deck wouldn't work. Then we have 3 White Stones of Legend, or 3 Baby Bluey Wooies, as I like to call them. When they're sent to the graveyard, I can add 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from my deck to my hand, so it's sort of like a one engine of the deck that I have. Next I have 3 Light and Darkness Dragon. This is just a very good negation card, anti-meta card in general. At the cost of 500 of its own attack and defense points, it can stop spells, traps and monster effects from going off. It's also a brilliant resurrection card in that when it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, I choose a monster in the graveyard, destroy all other cards that I control, and it special summons that monster. So if there's a Blue Eyes White Dragon in the graveyard, it's like you destroy a Light and Darkness Dragon which was causing you problems, and you've got a 3000 attack beat stick to face now. So, and it's a very, very good card. A lot of people say that sometimes 3 can be too much for some decks and 2 is a more preferred number, but I find 3 works really, really well because I tend to use up quite a few of the Light and Darkness Dragons in some duels, so I'd rather have 3 than 2 just to be on the safe side. Next we have 2 Alexandrite Dragon as a 2000 attack beat stick. Then 2 Vanguard of the Dragon. I can discard a dragon type monster from my hand to the graveyard to have it gain 300 attack, and the attack boost is permanent. And when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, I can special summon a normal type dragon monster from either player's graveyard. Again, obvious target's going to be Blue Eyes White Dragon, but it's the first effect of discarding dragons to the graveyard. It is brilliant for comboing with White Stones of Legend, the Totem Dragons, or even on occasion the Blue Eyes White Dragon to get combos and strategies going off that way. Next we have 1 Delta Flyer, which is my main way for synchroing. It can also be used for exceeding, which I'll explain in a little bit. Then we have 2 Mass Dragon. This is another engine of the deck where when it's destroyed by battle, I can search out any dragon type monster with 15 attack or less to the field. And then we have what I would say is the first backbone of the deck is Totem Dragons, which is my main way for getting out the Blue Eyes White Dragons and the Light and Darkness Dragons. It counts as 2 tributes for the summon of a dragon type monster, and if it's in the graveyard and I control no monsters during the standby phase, I can resurrect this card from the graveyard. However, if it leaves the field while using that effect, it is banished, unfortunately. So it's got like a 2-use thing if it's like summoned out via an effect, or if it uses and then it uses its own effect. But there's so many combos I can do with this little dragon, not just tribute out for Blue Eyes and Light and Darkness Dragon. This is the main way I can exceed with it. Resurrect a Totem Dragon and then play Delta Flyer. Overlay into a rank 3 once I increase Totem to level 3 with Delta Flyer's effect. This resets the Totem Dragon, so it means I can put it back in the graveyard when I detach it as an XYZ material. So in other words, I get another turn to use the Totem Dragons. So it's just such a versatile little card, and it's really, really good. Next we have 1 Polymerization, which is my main way to fuse into Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. A lot of people keep saying use Dragon's Mirror, but I don't like Dragon's Mirror. I have tried it, it's not really my style. Polymerization is much more fun. Then we have the staples of Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Book of Moon. I've been testing this in and out of the deck for the past wee while, and I find that it's actually a lot better in the deck than out of the deck because it's just saved my backside so many times in quite a few duels. Then we have 1 Heavy Storm, And then we have 3 Mystical Space Typhoons. This is from experience of dueling Fire Fists and Mermills, or any decks that rely heavily on spell and trap cards on Dueling Network. It's just a good idea to have 3 maximum. Even a lot of competitive decks nowadays are using 3 MST just because back row is just so dangerous now, especially since how Solemn Warning has gone down to 1. Next we have 2 Pot of Duality to add cards to the hand. Downside is I can't special summon that turn, but that's okay. Then, because of all of you guys suggesting it, I've got 1 trade-in in my deck now, because I have got 6 targets, you know, the 3 Light and Darkness and the 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. 1's more than adequate for the deck. I mean, if I wanted to add 2 in, I would, but I think 2 throws off the synergy of the deck and messes up the strategy of getting either Blue Eyes or Light and Darkness out on the field, because the last time I put in 2 I kind of got really lost on how to get back the Blue Eyes after I discarded them and everything, and it just made a mess. 1's more than adequate because the amount of it's just more adequate really. Then we have 2 Dragon Ravine. Now, not 3, 2 Dragon Ravine. I've got so many ways to discard Totem Dragons, Blue Eyes and White Stones of Legends now. I felt 3 Ravine was too much, and it was taking up, and the third one was taking up deck space for another card that could make itself useful. Once per turn during my own main phase, or during a main phase, I can discard 1 card from the hand to activate one of these effects. The first one is to add a level 4 lower Dragoonity monster from the deck to my hand, but the second effect is the one I use the most, which is send 1 dragon type monster from the deck to the graveyard. So main combo is like discard a White Stone or a Totem Dragon or a Blue Eyes if needed to send a White Stone or Totem Dragon or Blue Eyes to the graveyard, and that way the graveyard's set up with Totem Dragons ready to resurrect and tribute for. White Stones effect, the White Stones get their effect to add Blue Eyes White Dragons to my hand, or even putting Blue Eyes in the grave to resurrect with Monster Born or Call of the Haunted. Very basic, kind of old strategies, but classic and effective when they're put through. Then we've got 3 Photon Sanctuary. I was dithering whether or not to put this down to 2, mixing it between 2 and 3, because there are a couple of times where it can be a bit hand cloggy and I've got nothing to tribute out for. But since I've got 6 targets in the deck, again 3 Blue Eyes, 3 White Light and Darkness Dragon, especially if I don't have any Totem Dragons in the graveyard, or if I've already used up the Totem Dragons, this is a very good backup to get out Light and Darkness or the Blue Eyes White Dragon onto the field. And I learned the hard way that it's better to have the maximum efficient ways to get out your dragons rather than with these kind of cards in the deck, rather than minimizing them down where you could be in a situation where you've got nothing to summon out, especially if you have all high levels on your hand. So a really good tech card for any dragon decks that utilize the power of light type dragon monsters. Obviously not as quick as things like Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon and everything, but I prefer it over that, to be honest. Then we have 2 Mirror Force, just as a standard staple trap card to blow up things in the battle phase. A lot of competitive decks especially don't use this nowadays, but I still do, because the amount of times people will overextend and then forget about your back row and they run into a Mirror Force, you know, it's like, it's not my problem, you overextended. And then finally for the main deck we've got 2 Call of the Haunted. As a versatile little resurrection card to bring back anything I need, bring back Totem Dragons if I don't want to resurrect them via their effects, chain with a White Stone of Legend if someone activates an MST or a Heavy Storm or a Spell Trap Destruction card, bring back Blue Eyes, bring back Mash Dragon if I need to reuse its engine. So many combos with this card, it's such a good versatile little card. Then, for the extra deck, we have 1 Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which is the tribute fodder for the Shining Dragon. Still running Ancient Fairy Dragon. Some people might say take it out because I'm only running 2 field spells, but it's still a good card. And also there are some decks out there that utilise other field spells as well, such as Dark Worlds, and in some builds of the Elemental Dragons, which are going to be hitting us very soon. Elemental Dragons would use Dragon Ravine, not Dark World, if you see what I mean. Then we have 1 Black Rose Dragon to blow up the whole field. one Stardust Dragon to protect my monsters from destruction effects, one Black Feather Dragon to negate against burn. Granted, it's a bit situational because there's not very many decks that do a lot of burn damage unless you go up against a burn deck or something, but the amount of times I've ran into a Mirror Force was frustrating to say the least, so this is just a good wee situational card just in case. Then, for my Exceeds, we have one Levia the Sea Dragon. This is the only non-dragon in the whole deck, and again, it's a situational card for me, mainly to use with the Totem Dragons if they do happen to be banished. I can detach an XYZ material to target a level 4 lower monster and special summon it to my side of the field. Well, that's been banished, so I'd rather use this over Burial from a different dimension or Return from the different dimension, just because that takes up, I feel, precious deck space that could be used for something else, whereas Leviair is in the extra deck, which I don't use a lot, but it's there just in case I do get into that scenario where I need to bring back a Totem Dragon for a tribute or other combos that I need to do. Next we have two number 17 Leviathan Dragon, just as a 3k beat stick when it detaches its XYZ materials. It's also the main way for helping to reset the Totem Dragons. For example, if I don't have any other moves besides going into an Exceed for the turn, resurrect Totem Dragon, summon out Delta Flyer, increase Totem Dragon to level 3 and then overlay. For Leviathan Dragon, because it's technically not on the field anymore but acting as an XYZ material, it means when I detach the Totem Dragon it's reset and goes back into the graveyard ready to be used again the next turn or the next time I don't have any monsters on the field and I need to get out, say, Light and Darkness Dragon or a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Then we have one Queen Dragoon. Dragon type monsters that I control cannot be destroyed by battle except for Queen Dragoon herself. And once per turn I can detach one XYZ material from her to resurrect a level 5 or higher dragon type monster from the graveyard. It can't attack that turn and its effects are negated. It can't be used with Light and Darkness Dragon because that can't be special summoned, but it's brilliant for using with the Blue Eyes White Dragons if I don't have any resurrection cards left. No Light and Darkness, no Call of the Haunted, no Monster Born. Then we have, or finally I should say, we have one Hieratic Sun Dragon, Lord of Heliopolis. A rank 8, and it needs 2 level 8, so 2 Blue Eyes or 2 Light and Darkness or 1 of each would be perfect. Once per turn I can detach an XYZ material from the card and then tribute any number of monsters from my hand or field and destroy an equal number on the field. So it's a good selective destruction card. It's a good backup if the opportunity presents itself that I do have 2 Blue Eyes on the field or 2 Light and Darkness or whatever on the field. It's also very good for using in case the Blue Eyes strategy does fail and I can't get out Shining Dragon, so it's a good wee backup card there. The final Exceed I would like to add to the deck is, of course, number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, but that's not out at the moment. It will be out next month, I believe. I do plan to get it. I really like its effect. It's basically a Galaxy Eyes version of the Blue Eyes Shining Dragon. I believe it's 2 level 8 monsters, and its effect is along the lines of it can negate face up effect monsters on the field, and if it negates an effect during the battle phase it gets to attack again, and it gets an extra grand of attack power when it does that. I'm not entirely sure its effect. I mean, I'll probably find out in a little while, but it's a really cool card. I really like it. I can't wait to get it, so next time I do a deck update, hopefully in a couple of months time, it'll be in the deck then, hopefully. Anyway guys, that's it for Blue Eyes Dragons. I hope you enjoyed. There's only been a few minor changes, but enough to do the deck video. So again, I hope you enjoyed, and from me and the Shining Dragon, we hope you take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye!